There's a moment, a single heartbeat in your life, when everything changes. Not because the world finally gave you a chance, but because you decided to stop waiting. You stopped apologizing for your dreams. You stopped shrinking to make others comfortable. You looked in the mirror and said, "Enough." That is the moment you become unstoppable. And if you're hearing this right now, maybe that moment is today. Introduction: the power of one decision. Every great transformation begins with one silent choice: the decision to rise, the decision to grow, the decision to stop letting life happen to you and start making life happen for you. Becoming unstoppable doesn't mean you never fall. It means you rise every time you do. It's learning to dance with failure, to laugh at fear, and to trust that the storm shaping you is also strengthening you. This isn't about short bursts of motivation that fade in a week. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't need motivation to move forward. Because you've built discipline, belief, and purpose into your core. Let this be the beginning of your journey, not toward perfection, but toward power. Chapter 1: the decision that changes everything. Every person reaches a point where they realize that waiting is no longer an option. You wait for the right time, the right opportunity, the right mindset, the right feeling. But somewhere deep down, you know that right never comes. Life doesn't hand you a sign that says, "Now is your moment." It gives you ordinary days that become extraordinary, the moment you decide to do something with them. That decision, often made quietly and without anyone else knowing, is what separates those who drift from those who rise. It is what separates those who wish from those who work. For most of us, the idea of change feels massive and distant, something that belongs to people with more time, talent, or luck. But the truth is far simpler. Change begins in one heartbeat, one breath, one firm and honest decision. It's that moment when you look at your life and finally say, "This is not how my story will end." It's the moment when you choose to stop living on autopilot and start living with intention. That moment is powerful beyond measure, because in it, you take back control of your life. You may not control what has happened to you, but you absolutely control what happens next. The funny thing about life is that it doesn't get better because you hope it will. It gets better because you take ownership of it. You can have all the knowledge, all the potential, and all the dreams in the world, but none of that matters until you decide that the excuses end here. Most people never reach that decision because they convince themselves that tomorrow will be better. They tell themselves they'll start when things settle down, when they have more time, when they feel more confident. But someday is a thief. It steals your years one excuse at a time. If you keep waiting for the perfect moment, you'll look up one day and realize that the perfect moment was today and you let it slip by. The people who become unstoppable are not necessarily the smartest, strongest, or most talented. They are simply the ones who refuse to let indecision run their lives. They understand that action, even imperfect action, is more powerful than endless planning. They stop worrying about whether they are ready and start moving forward anyway. Readiness is a myth. You don't feel ready before you start. You feel ready because you started. Confidence is built in motion, not in thought. Think about the times you've accomplished something meaningful. Maybe it was getting in shape, starting a new job, or learning a new skill. You probably didn't have it all figured out in the beginning. You learned, adjusted, and improved along the way. That's how growth works. The decision to start isn't about being sure. It's about being committed. Once you commit, the path reveals itself step by step. Every decision you make, no matter how small, is a vote for the person you are becoming. When you decide to wake up early, instead of sleeping in, you're casting a vote for discipline. When you choose to speak up instead of staying silent, you're voting for confidence. When you push through discomfort instead of quitting, you're voting for strength. These small daily votes, repeated over time, create an unstoppable version of you. Change doesn't happen overnight. It happens quietly, through hundreds of small, consistent decisions that slowly shape your future. The moment you realize that your life is shaped by your choices, not your circumstances, you begin to understand your true power. Circumstances are what you face. Choices are how you respond. Two people can go through the same hardship. One will collapse, the other will rise. The difference isn't luck, it's decision. It's deciding that no matter what happens, you will keep moving forward. That's what it means to be unstoppable. Not to never fall, but to never stay down. Commitment is what transforms decisions into reality. Motivation may start the fire, but it's commitment that keeps it burning. Motivation is fleeting. It's tied to emotion, and emotions change. Commitment, on the other hand, is a promise. It's saying, I will keep going, not because I feel like it, but because I said I would. Discipline and commitment walk hand in hand. They are the invisible threads that pull you through when everything in you wants to quit. You don't need to feel ready, excited, or confident every day. You only need to be committed. The truth about growth is that it's rarely glamorous. It's not all passion and inspiration. Most of it happens in silence. Early mornings, late nights, long stretches of doing the same thing again and again. It's easy to underestimate these moments, but they're the ones that build your foundation. Every small effort, repeated consistently, compounds into something far greater than you can imagine. The person who goes for a short run every day will outlast the one who runs a marathon once a year. The person who reads 10 pages a day will know more than the one who finishes a book once in a while. Small steps may not feel impressive, but they are the essence of real progress. Fear often disguises itself as logic. It whispers, you're not ready, you don't know enough, or what if you fail? But fear's real goal is to keep you safe by keeping you small. It's your brain's way of protecting you from risk, but in doing so, it also protects you from growth. Every meaningful decision you make will come with fear attached. The key is not to eliminate it, but to walk with it. Fear loses its power when you stop running from it. The moment you face it head on, you realize it was never as big as you thought. Ask yourself, what would you do if fear wasn't a factor? What decision have you been avoiding because you're scared of what might happen? Imagine if, instead of asking, what if I fail, you started asking, what if I succeed? That simple shift changes everything. Most of what we fear never actually happens, but the regret of not trying, that is real. That regret lingers. It weighs on your heart, reminding you of the potential you buried under hesitation. There's a defining moment in everyone's journey, often called the mirror moment. It's the moment you look at yourself, really look, and realize that your future is up to you. No more blaming, no more excuses. You see both the mistakes and the potential. You recognize that no one can change your life for you. That moment is uncomfortable but liberating, because once you stop lying to yourself, you stop living below your potential. You start owning your story. Owning your story means accepting where you are without accepting that it's where you'll stay. It's acknowledging your past without being defined by it. Too often, people let old failures, pain, or shame become their identity. But the past is not a life sentence, it's a lesson. You can't rewrite it, but you can use it. Every scar carries wisdom. Every loss carries perspective. The question is whether you'll use those lessons to rise or as excuses to remain the same. The moment you decide to change is powerful because it shifts your entire identity. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being the author of your life. It's not about pretending everything is fine. It's about realizing that you have the strength to make it fine. Every person who has transformed their life began with that same decision to stop being controlled by their environment and start creating it. Change doesn't require a grand gesture. It begins with a quiet commitment, maybe as simple as saying, "I'm done living this way." You don't need to announce it to the world, you only need to mean it. The universe doesn't respond to wishful thinking. It responds to consistent energy, to a person who is all in. Once you decide with clarity and conviction, life starts to move around you. Opportunities that once seemed invisible start to appear. People who share your energy start to show up, and the things that no longer serve you begin to fall away. But the decision alone isn't enough. It must be followed by action, small, persistent, daily action. The kind that builds momentum slowly but surely. The kind that proves to yourself that you mean what you say. When you align your actions with your intentions, your confidence grows. You stop questioning whether you can, because you're too busy doing it. Being unstoppable doesn't mean you'll never doubt yourself again. It doesn't mean you'll never feel tired or lost. It means that no matter what happens, quitting is not on the table. You may slow down, you may stumble, but you don't stop, because you've decided that your purpose matters more than your comfort. You've decided that your future deserves your full effort. In the end, the decision that changes everything is not made in a single dramatic moment. It's made again and again. Every morning when you wake up and choose effort over ease, faith over fear, purpose over distraction, you're making that decision anew. It's a lifelong commitment to yourself. And with every choice you make in alignment with your best self, you become a little more unstoppable. So if you're waiting for the right time to start, this is it. If you're waiting for someone to believe in you, start with yourself. If you're waiting for life to get easier, it won't, but you can get stronger. The moment you decide that your dreams are worth the discomfort, that your potential is worth the work, and that your future is worth fighting for, that's the moment your transformation begins. Because everything changes the moment you do. Chapter 2. Discipline. The bridge between wanting and winning. Everyone wants to change their life, but few are willing to do what it actually takes. The difference between those who dream and those who achieve comes down to one word: discipline. It is not glamorous, it is not easy, and it is almost never fun, but it is the foundation of every success story ever written. Discipline is the invisible force that turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. It is what transforms "I wish" into "I did." Most people misunderstand discipline. They see it as restriction, as a loss of freedom, as something cold and rigid. But in truth, discipline is the purest form of freedom. Without it, you become a slave to your impulses, your emotions, and your comfort zone. When you lack discipline, your moods decide your future. You act only when you feel like it, and as a result, your progress becomes inconsistent and fragile. Discipline, however, gives you control. It allows you to act based on purpose, not emotion. It's choosing what you want most over what you want right now. Think about the people you admire: athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders. Their greatness isn't built on talent alone. It's built on habits, routines, and a relentless commitment to doing what others won't. Every time they show up when it's hard, every time they keep going when no one's watching, every time they silence the voice that says "not today," they strengthen their discipline. It's that quiet consistency that separates them from everyone else. Discipline is the bridge between wanting and winning. Everyone wants success, confidence, health, and happiness, but very few are willing to build the bridge. That bridge is made of daily effort, repetition, sacrifice, and patience. You don't cross it overnight. You build it one brick at a time. And what makes it even more powerful is that no one can build it for you. It's yours alone. The myth of motivation. Many people rely on motivation to get started. They wait for that spark, that rush of energy that makes everything feel possible. But motivation is unreliable. It's emotional fuel, and emotions fluctuate. Some days you'll feel unstoppable, but others you'll wake up tired, distracted, or defeated. If your progress depends on feeling inspired, you'll never get far. Discipline, on the other hand, is steady. It doesn't care whether you're in the mood or not. It's doing what needs to be done because you said you would. Discipline doesn't demand perfection. It demands persistence. You don't have to run a marathon every day. You just have to take another step forward, even when it's hard. The truth is, discipline creates motivation. When you act, even without feeling like it, you begin to build momentum. Momentum creates progress, and progress fuels motivation. So instead of waiting for inspiration to strike, start moving. You'll notice that the act of doing brings the energy you thought you needed beforehand. The practice of consistency. Consistency is where discipline truly lives. It's not about doing something once. It's about doing it again and again until it becomes part of who you are. You can't build muscle by going to the gym once. You can't master a skill by practicing for a day. The results come from the repetition, from showing up repeatedly until it becomes effortless. Most people quit too early because they expect results too soon. We live in a culture obsessed with speed, quick results, fast money, instant gratification. But mastery doesn't come from bursts of effort. It comes from small, deliberate actions sustained over time. The person who improves 1% every day will end up miles ahead of the one who works hard for a week and gives up. Consistency builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Every time you keep your word, you prove that you can rely on yourself. Every time you follow through, you strengthen the belief that you are capable. That self-trust becomes the foundation of confidence, and confidence built on discipline never fades, because it's not dependent on circumstances. It's rooted in your actions. Discipline in everyday life. Discipline doesn't only apply to big goals. It shows up in the smallest moments: how you start your morning, how you treat others, how you talk to yourself when things go wrong. It's in the decision to eat healthy when it's easier not to. It's in putting your phone down to focus on what matters. It's in keeping promises to yourself that no one else knows about. These small acts of discipline compound over time. Each one might seem insignificant in isolation, but together they form your character. When you're disciplined in the small things, you build the muscle to handle bigger challenges. The person who can control small impulses can eventually control their destiny. The cost of comfort. Comfort is the silent killer of progress. It whispers that you're doing fine where you are, that you can rest a little longer, that the effort isn't worth it. But comfort never leads to growth. It keeps you safe, yes, but it also keeps you stuck. Every breakthrough in life requires discomfort, whether it's physical pain in training, emotional vulnerability in relationships, or mental strain in learning something new. Growth hurts. That pain is proof that you're stretching beyond your limits. Discipline teaches you to see discomfort not as a signal to stop, but as evidence that you're on the right path. When you avoid discomfort, you trade your long-term potential for short-term relief. You stay in the same place, doing the same things, feeling the same frustrations. But when you embrace discomfort, you build resilience. You learn that you can handle more than you thought. You start to crave challenge because you know that each challenge makes you stronger, turning discipline into identity. The most powerful form of discipline is when it stops being something you do and becomes part of who you are. When you no longer need to convince yourself to act, you just act because it's what you do. That's when you've shifted from behavior to identity. You stop saying, "I'm trying to be disciplined," and start saying, "I am disciplined." That shift matters. The words you use shape how you see yourself. If you identify as someone who follows through, your actions naturally align with that identity. You start making choices that fit the story you tell about yourself. Every time you show up, even when it's hard, you're reinforcing that identity. You're telling your subconscious, this is who I am now. And once that belief takes root, discipline becomes effortless. It's no longer a struggle between what you want and what you should do. They become the same thing. The reward of discipline. The reward of discipline is not just success, it's peace. It's knowing that you're doing what you're capable of, that you're living up to your potential. It's the quiet confidence that comes from self-respect. You no longer need to seek validation because you're proud of the person you're becoming. Discipline brings clarity. It simplifies your life because it eliminates endless decision-making. When you've committed to certain standards, choices become automatic. You don't debate whether to go to the gym. It's what you do. You don't argue with yourself about working on your goals. It's who you are. That kind of simplicity frees your mind for bigger, more meaningful pursuits. There's also a profound joy in discipline that many people overlook. The joy of progress, of consistency, of control. When you look back and see how far you've come, not because of luck or talent, but because of effort, you feel a sense of fulfillment that can't be replicated. Discipline turns potential into proof, becoming unstoppable through discipline. To be unstoppable, you must build discipline as your foundation. Motivation will fade. Emotions will fluctuate. Life will throw challenges your way. But discipline, real, deep, practiced discipline, will hold you steady through it all. It's the anchor that keeps you grounded when things go wrong, and the engine that drives you forward when things go right. Every time you choose discipline over ease, you strengthen your willpower. Every time you act with intention instead of impulse, you reclaim more of your life. You learn that freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you want. It comes from mastering yourself. So when you're tempted to quit, when your mind says not today, remember this. Your dreams are not built in bursts of passion. They are built in the quiet hours of discipline, in the moments no one sees, in the small acts of effort that seem insignificant, until one day they change everything. Discipline is not a punishment. It's a declaration that you believe in your potential enough to protect it. It's saying, I'm willing to do what it takes, not just what feels good. That is the difference between people who talk about success and those who live it. The bridge between wanting and winning is right in front of you. You can't cross it in a single leap, but you can start building it today, brick by brick, choice by choice, habit by habit. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it, because every act of discipline brings you one step closer to the life you've been dreaming of, and one step further from the person you no longer want to be. And when you finally cross that bridge, you'll look back and realize that the struggle, the sacrifice, the effort, it all built something far greater than success. It built you. Chapter 3. Mastering the Mind. Your greatest battlefield. If there is one place where every battle is fought before it's ever seen in the real world, it's in your mind. The mind is both your greatest weapon and your greatest enemy. It has built empires and destroyed them. It has driven people to success beyond imagination and kept others trapped in invisible prisons made of fear, doubt, and overthinking. The truth is, most people don't lose to the world. They lose to themselves long before the world even gets a chance to test them. The journey to becoming unstoppable is not about lifting heavier weights, making more money, or climbing higher mountains. It begins with learning to control what happens inside your head. Your mind determines how you interpret failure, how you react to challenges, and how you speak to yourself when things fall apart. If you cannot command your thoughts will command you. And that's a battle you cannot afford to lose. The power of thoughts. Every single thing you have done in your life began as a thought. Every decision, every mistake, every triumph, all of it started in your mind before it existed in reality. Your thoughts are not just random noise. They are instructions to your body, your emotions, and your actions. What you repeatedly think about becomes what you expect, and what you expect shapes what you attract and pursue. If you constantly think in terms of failure, your mind prepares you for it. If you constantly imagine success, your mind begins to seek it out. That's not magic, it's focus. You move toward what you dwell on. Most people spend their lives focusing on what they don't want. Instead of what they do, they repeat lines like, I don't want to fail. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be alone. But your mind doesn't register the don't. It hears the command fail, broke, alone. That's why mental mastery begins with awareness, becoming conscious of the stories you're telling yourself. The average person has tens of thousands of thoughts a day, and the majority are repetitive. If those repeated thoughts are negative, you are training your brain to expect defeat. But the reverse is also true. You can train your mind to expect strength, success, and possibility. That doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means refusing to let fear and self-doubt write your story for you. Your inner voice. The most important conversation you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. That voice in your head, the one that tells you you're not good enough or you'll never make it, can either destroy you or drive you. Most people believe everything that voice says, never realizing that it's often just fear, dressed up as logic. The inner critic is not the truth. It's a defense mechanism trying to keep you safe. But safety and growth cannot coexist. To master your mind, you must learn to question that voice. When it says, you can't do this, ask, why not me? When it says, you'll fail, respond, then I'll learn. You don't silence the inner critic by fighting it. You weaken it by acting anyway. Every time you take action, despite self-doubt, you prove that you're in control, not your fear. Over time, that voice gets quieter. It doesn't disappear, but it learns that you're not easily persuaded anymore. The goal isn't to eliminate negative thoughts. That's impossible. The goal is to become so mentally disciplined that those thoughts no longer control your behavior. You can feel fear, doubt, or frustration, and still move forward. That's what mental mastery looks like. The filter of focus. Your focus is the steering wheel of your mind. Whatever you focus on expands. If you focus on problems, they grow larger. If you focus on solutions, they become clearer. Most people spend so much energy replaying their struggles that they leave no energy for progress. They talk about what's wrong more than what's possible, and their life becomes a reflection of that focus. Focus doesn't mean ignoring pain or pretending everything is perfect. It means deciding what deserves your attention. You cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can control what you give energy to. Imagine holding a magnifying glass under the sun. The light doesn't burn until you focus it on one point. The same is true of your energy. Scattered attention achieves nothing, but focused attention can create miracles. Mental discipline is learning to direct your focus deliberately. When your mind wanders toward negativity or self-pity, you bring it back. When you start to spiral into what-ifs and worst-case scenarios, you anchor yourself in what you can control. This is not easy. It takes constant awareness and repetition. But with practice, your mind learns to obey your direction instead of dragging you around. The enemy called overthinking. Overthinking is the silent destroyer of dreams. It disguises itself as preparation or intelligence, but in reality, it's fear wearing a clever disguise. It convinces you that you're being cautious when you're really just being paralyzed. You replay decisions endlessly, analyze every outcome, and seek absolute certainty before acting. The problem is, certainty never comes, and so neither does progress. Every minute spent overthinking is a minute stolen from action. You can't think your way into clarity. You have to act your way there. Once you move, even a little, your perspective changes. You see what works, what doesn't, and you adjust. That's how you learn. That's how you grow. But if you stay stuck in your head, you'll drown in your own thoughts while your dreams fade in the distance. The cure for overthinking is movement. When your mind starts spiraling, shift from analysis to action. Write something, build something, move your body, make a call, take a step, any step. Momentum kills doubt faster than logic ever will. Feeding the mind. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant grows. If you fill it with negativity, complaints, gossip, and junk content, you'll harvest anxiety and insecurity. If you fill it with learning, gratitude, reflection, and inspiration, you'll grow confidence and peace. The problem isn't that we lack potential. It's that we constantly feed ourselves mental junk food. Be intentional about what you consume. The music you listen to, the shows you watch, the people you talk to, the words you repeat, all of these shape your thinking. You can't expect positivity to grow in soil that's constantly being poisoned by negativity. You are not immune to your environment, so build one that nourishes your mind instead of draining it. This doesn't mean cutting out all entertainment or pretending to be perfect. It means being conscious of what's influencing your thoughts. If something consistently makes you feel smaller, weaker, or hopeless, it doesn't deserve your attention. Guard your mind the way you'd guard a treasure, because it is one. The tools of mental mastery. There are several simple but powerful tools to help you strengthen your mind. The first is awareness. Most people go through life reacting without realizing why. Pause often and notice your thoughts. Ask yourself, what am I focusing on? What story am I telling myself right now? Awareness is the first step toward control. The second tool is gratitude. Gratitude rewires your brain to notice abundance instead of lack. It doesn't mean ignoring your struggles. It means refusing to let them define your entire perspective. When you focus on what's good, your energy shifts, your decisions improve, and your resilience increases. The third tool is reflection. Spend time alone with your thoughts, journal, meditate, or take quiet walks. Modern life constantly floods us with noise, making it easy to forget what we actually think and feel. Silence is uncomfortable, but it's where self-understanding begins. In stillness, you discover what you truly want, what fears are holding you back, and what beliefs need changing. Finally, there's repetition. The mind learns through repetition. You can't master your thoughts once and be done. You must practice daily, redirecting negative thoughts, reaffirming your goals, grounding yourself in gratitude. Over time, these practices build mental muscle, the strength of perspective. Life will test you. You will face loss, failure, rejection, and disappointment. You cannot control that. What you can control is your perspective, how you interpret what happens. Two people can go through the same hardship and come out completely different. One becomes bitter, the other becomes wiser. The difference is not in the event, but in the meaning each person gives it. When something painful happens, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? Instead of asking, why me? Ask, what now? This simple shift transforms pain into power. Every setback can serve you if you choose to extract the lesson from it. The strongest people you'll ever meet aren't those who never suffered. They're the ones who refuse to waste their suffering. Perspective is what keeps you steady when life shakes you. It allows you to see the bigger picture, to realize that the obstacle in front of you might actually be the opportunity you've been waiting for. When you master perspective, nothing can truly break you. The freedom of a trained mind. A disciplined mind brings peace. When you learn to control your focus, challenge your thoughts, and respond with intention, life stops feeling chaotic. You stop being tossed around by every emotion, every disappointment, every bad day. You start to live from a place of calm strength. A trained mind doesn't mean you never feel fear, anger, or sadness. It means you experience them without being consumed by them. You allow them to pass through instead of letting them take root. You no longer react impulsively. You respond deliberately. That's real power. The mind, when mastered, becomes your greatest ally. It sharpens your decisions, strengthens your discipline, and fuels your confidence. When you can control your inner world, the outer world loses its power to control you. That's when you become truly unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you become stronger. In the end, mastering the mind isn't about perfection. It's about awareness, control, and choice. It's realizing that your thoughts are tools, not truths, and that you get to decide how to use them. Every great achievement, every act of courage, every transformation begins inside. Win the battle within, and the world outside has no choice but to follow. Chapter 4. Confidence is built, not born. Confidence. It's the word everyone wants, but few truly understand. Some think you're born with it, that certain people simply wake up fearless, charismatic, and ready to take on the world. But that belief is one of the greatest lies ever told. Confidence isn't a gift, it's a skill. It's built over time through experience, action, and perseverance. The people who seem naturally confident didn't start that way. They built it, one decision, one failure, one small victory at a time. Confidence isn't about arrogance or pretending to be better than others. It's not loud or boastful. True confidence is quiet and steady. It's the calm knowing that you can handle whatever life throws at you. It's not needing to prove yourself to anyone because you already know your worth. Confidence doesn't come from external validation, from compliments, likes, or applause. It comes from internal trust, the kind that's built only when you've seen yourself follow through, survive, and grow. The myth of natural confidence. We've been conditioned to believe that confidence is a personality trait. You see someone who's outgoing or speaks with ease and assume they were just born that way. But that assumption hides a deeper truth. Confidence is the byproduct of experience. It's not about being fearless. It's about learning to act despite fear. The person who appears confident in front of a crowd has likely stood in front of one many times. Trembling, sweating, stuttering, but they kept doing it until it no longer scared them. No one is born with confidence. They're born with potential. Confidence grows when you nurture that potential through repetition and courage. Every time you do something you once thought you couldn't, you add another layer to your confidence. Over time, those layers build into something unshakable. The good news is, if confidence can be built, anyone can build it. The only thing stopping you is the belief that you can't. The foundation, self-trust. Confidence begins with trust, not in the world, not in luck, but in yourself. You can't believe in your abilities if you constantly break promises to yourself. If you say you'll do something and don't, you erode self-trust. Every broken commitment, no matter how small, sends a message to your subconscious that your word doesn't matter. Over time, that message becomes a belief, and that belief becomes insecurity. The opposite is also true. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build self-trust. You say, "I'll work out tomorrow," and you do. You say, "I'll speak up this time," and you do. These moments might seem insignificant, but they are powerful. They are evidence that you can depend on yourself. And that's the root of real confidence. People often think confidence comes after success, but it's actually the other way around. Success follows confidence because belief fuels action. When you trust yourself to show up, to try, to learn, you naturally take more chances. And those chances lead to growth. The role of fear. One of the biggest misconceptions about confident people is that they're fearless. They're not. They just have a different relationship with fear. They understand that fear is normal, even helpful. It's a sign that you're stepping outside your comfort zone, the only place growth ever happens. The difference between confident people and everyone else isn't the absence of fear. It's their ability to act in spite of it. They've trained themselves to see fear as information, not a barrier. Fear says, this matters. Fear says, this could change something. Confident people listen, nod, and move forward anyway. You build confidence by facing fear, not by avoiding it. The first time you do something scary, your heart races, your palms sweat, and your mind screams to run. But once you push through, you realize you survived. And that realization rewires your brain. You begin to understand that discomfort isn't danger, and that courage grows each time you act in its presence. Every confident person you admire has a history of fear. They just didn't let it make their decisions for them. The practice of small wins. Confidence doesn't appear overnight. It's built in small, consistent wins, moments that prove to you that you're capable. Start with what's in front of you. Show up early to work. Finish a project you've been putting off. Speak your opinion in a meeting. Each small victory sends a message to your brain. I can do this. Confidence compounds like interest. The more you prove yourself right, the stronger your belief grows. And the stronger your belief, the bolder your actions become. You start taking on bigger challenges, not because they're easier, but because you trust that you can handle them. The key is momentum. When you start small and stay consistent, your wins begin to build upon each other. Soon the things that once scared you become routine, and as your comfort zone expands, so does your confidence. The danger of comparison. Nothing kills confidence faster than comparison. When you measure your worth against someone else's highlight reel, you rob yourself of joy and progress. The truth is, everyone's path is different. You can't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Confident people don't compete with others. They compete with who they were yesterday. They understand that growth is personal and progress is unique. Someone else's success doesn't diminish yours. It's just proof that success is possible. Social media has made comparison easier than ever, but also more deceptive. You see people's achievements, but not their struggles. You see the trophy, not the training. You see the smile, not the sacrifice. Comparing yourself to that illusion is unfair, and it keeps you stuck. To rebuild confidence, focus inward. Track your own growth, no matter how small. Celebrate your progress instead of minimizing it. Gratitude for where you are will fuel your belief in where you can go. The power of body and mind. Your body language and posture have a direct impact on your confidence. Studies show that how you move influences how you feel. When you stand tall, shoulders back, chin up, your brain interprets that position as strength. It sends signals of power and readiness. When you slouch or look down, your brain associates it with defeat or insecurity. The way you carry yourself is a physical affirmation. You can use your body to train your mind. Even when you don't feel confident, act as if you are, not to deceive others, but to remind yourself of your strength. Over time, your posture, tone, and movement create feedback loops that reinforce your inner confidence. The same goes for your inner dialogue. Replace "I can't" with "I'll try." Replace "I'm not good enough" with "I'm learning." These shifts may seem small, but they reshape your self-image. You're not lying to yourself. You're choosing language that empowers instead of limits. Confidence isn't built in silence. It's built in dialogue, the one you have with yourself every day. Confidence through competence. Another key truth about confidence: it's tied to competence. The more skilled you become, the more naturally confident you feel. Confidence without skill is arrogance. Skill without confidence is wasted potential. When you invest time in improving your abilities, your confidence becomes grounded, not fragile. You can't fake mastery. Real confidence comes from doing the work, from knowing that you've put in the effort. When you've practiced, prepared, and refined your craft, you carry yourself differently. You no longer fear being exposed because you've earned your expertise. Whatever your goal, whether it's speaking, leading, creating, or performing, build competence first. Learn, practice, fail, adjust. Each repetition builds both skill and self-belief. That's why confident people rarely brag. Their work speaks for them. The resilience of true confidence. Confidence doesn't mean you'll never fail. It means you'll know what to do when you do. It's understanding that failure doesn't define you. It refines you. Every setback you survive becomes evidence of your strength. Each mistake you learn from adds another layer to your foundation. True confidence isn't shaken by rejection, judgment, or difficulty because it's built on something deeper than external success. It's built on the knowledge that you've faced challenges before and made it through. You trust yourself not because life is predictable, but because you've learned to adapt when it's not. Confidence is resilience in disguise. It's the steady voice that says, "I can handle this," even when you're scared. It's the quiet assurance that whatever happens, you'll find a way. The choice to believe. In the end, confidence is a choice, not an emotion. You choose to believe in yourself, even when there's no proof yet. You choose to act, even when you're uncertain. You choose to keep trying, even when no one else believes. Every time you make that choice, you strengthen your mental armor. Confidence is not something you find. It's something you create through consistent action, self-trust, and courage. It's the outcome of hundreds of small moments when you decided to show up anyway. So stop waiting to feel ready. Start building proof. Speak when your voice shakes. Try when you might fail. Step forward even when you don't know how it will end. Because every time you do, you're writing the story of someone who decided to become unstoppable. Not by being fearless, but by refusing to let fear win. Confidence isn't born in comfort. It's forged in challenge. And the good news, you already have everything you need to build it. It starts the moment you decide to believe in yourself, even just a little. And from that moment on, you'll never be the same. Chapter 5. The Power of Pain. Turning struggles into strength. Pain is a language everyone understands, yet few people truly learn from. It's universal. It doesn't care about status, background, or belief. Everyone faces it, and everyone tries to avoid it. But the truth is, pain is not your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. It is the fire that either consumes you or forges you, depending on how you respond. The most resilient people in history didn't become who they are because life was easy. They became strong because they faced what others ran from. When we talk about becoming unstoppable, we're not talking about a life free from pain. We're talking about developing the mindset and strength to use pain as fuel, instead of allowing it to become a chain. Every hardship, heartbreak, and disappointment you faced has the potential to make you either bitter or better. The choice is always yours. Pain as the catalyst for growth. Most people see pain as punishment, something that means they've failed or done something wrong. But pain is rarely there to destroy you. It's there to awaken you. It arrives to shake you from comfort, to challenge your assumptions, to reveal what's broken and what needs rebuilding. Growth is uncomfortable by nature, and pain is often the first sign that growth is trying to happen. Think back to moments in your life when pain forced you to change. Maybe it was a breakup that taught you self-respect, a failure that humbled you, a setback that redirected you. At the time, it probably felt like the end, but in hindsight, it was a beginning. Pain often clears away the illusions we cling to. It strips us down to what's real. It shows us what we can survive, and more importantly, who we really are. The seed of every transformation is buried in discomfort. You can't grow without friction, without being stretched beyond what feels easy. That's how muscles are built, through resistance. The same principle applies to life. Pain is the resistance that strengthens your spirit, your discipline, and your courage. The habit of avoidance. In modern life, we're conditioned to avoid pain at all costs. We seek comfort like it's the highest achievement. Easy entertainment, instant gratification, fast results. But comfort, though pleasant, weakens us. It lulls us into complacency. The more we avoid discomfort, the smaller our world becomes. We stop taking risks, we stop dreaming boldly, we stop believing we can handle difficulty. Avoidance doesn't eliminate pain, it delays it. The more you run from challenges, the more fragile you become. The moment something hard finally catches up, and it always does, you crumble because you've never built the resilience to face it. Unstoppable people don't chase comfort, they chase growth. They understand that ease doesn't lead to excellence. They don't seek pain, but they don't fear it either. They've learned that the fastest way to overcome pain is to go through it. Learning through suffering. There's a saying, suffering without reflection is wasted. Everyone suffers, but not everyone learns. The difference lies in how you interpret it. When pain comes, you can ask one of two questions: why me? Or what is this trying to teach me? The first keeps you trapped in victimhood. The second transforms you into a student of life. Pain teaches perspective. It humbles you, reminding you that you're not invincible, but also showing you that you're far stronger than you realized. It teaches patience, because healing takes time. It teaches empathy, because once you've suffered, you understand others more deeply. And it teaches gratitude, because when you come out of the storm, you learn to appreciate calm in a way you never could before. Every failure, rejection, or heartbreak carries a hidden lesson. The key is to pause long enough to find it. Maybe pain is teaching you to let go of control. Maybe it's teaching you boundaries, or discipline, or faith. Whatever it is, the lesson will repeat until it's learned. Pain that isn't transformed gets transmitted to others, to your future, to your own inner peace. The strength hidden in struggle. Every strong person you've ever met has a story, a moment or many, where life broke them open. What separates them from those who stayed broken isn't that they had less pain. It's that they used their pain differently. They turned their wounds into wisdom, their fear into fire, and their struggles into stepping stones. Think of the greatest athletes, leaders, or creators. Behind every success lies a chapter of pain, failure, ridicule, loss, exhaustion. These aren't detours, they're the path itself. Pain has a way of stripping away excuses and revealing character. When everything is easy, it's simple to appear strong, but when things fall apart, when you're left alone with your thoughts and pain, that's when you discover who you truly are. The truth is, strength isn't found in victory. It's found in endurance. It's in the moments when no one's watching, when you're tired and afraid, but choose to keep moving anyway. That's what builds resilience. The quiet courage to continue when everything in you wants to quit. Turning pain into purpose. The most powerful people in the world are those who've turned their pain into purpose. They've taken the very thing that once broke them and used it to help others heal, inspire, or grow. When you can take your deepest wounds and turn them into wisdom that uplifts others, your pain stops being meaningless. It becomes sacred. Ask yourself, what have I survived that can serve someone else? Maybe you faced loss and can now comfort those grieving. Maybe you've overcome failure and can teach others persistence. Maybe your own insecurities can help others learn self-acceptance. Whatever your story, there is power in it. Pain becomes purpose when you stop asking how to escape it and start asking how to use it. When you choose to make meaning out of your suffering, you rob it of its ability to control you. You turn it into something valuable. The mindset shift from why me to try me. There sets a subtle but life-changing shift that happens when you stop seeing yourself as a victim of pain and start seeing yourself as a warrior shaped by it. Instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to say, "Try me. Let Set see what I can handle." That's not denial. It's empowerment. It's the recognition that pain can't defeat you unless you let it. The same fire that burns others can forge you if you step into it with courage. You begin to view obstacles as opportunities for refinement, not punishment. Every setback becomes a challenge to rise stronger, smarter, and sharper. When you adopt this mindset, life's difficulties lose their power to intimidate you. You stop fearing adversity because you know it's simply another chance to evolve. You start expecting challenges, not as misfortune, but as invitations to level up. That's when you become truly unstoppable, healing and moving forward. Turning pain into power doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. Healing is not denial. It's facing your wounds honestly and choosing not to let them define you. It's forgiving without forgetting, learning without reliving. Healing takes time, but progress begins the moment you stop resisting the process. Be patient with yourself. Healing isn't linear. Some days you'll feel strong and grounded, and others you'll feel like you're falling backward. That's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's movement. Even when you're crawling, you're still moving forward. The key is to stay connected to hope, to the belief that your pain is not permanent and that it's preparing you for something greater. You can't always control when pain enters your life, but you can always control what you do with it. The power of perspective. At some point, you'll look back on what once broke you and realize it was building you all along. The things that hurt the most often teach the deepest lessons. The moments that felt like endings were actually beginnings. Perspective transforms pain into strength. It helps you see that life isn't happening to you. It's happening for you. Every hardship is a test, but also a teacher. Every challenge is a chance to rise. Pain gives depth to your joy, contrast to your success, and meaning to your journey. Without it, growth would be impossible. So, when life hurts, when it feels unbearable and unfair, remember this: pain is temporary, but what you gain from it can last forever. It's not there to destroy you, it's there to develop you. The next time pain knocks at your door, don't hide from it. Invite it in. Ask it what it's trying to show you, because within every moment of struggle lies the seed of strength. And within that strength lies the version of you who is truly unstoppable. Pain will always be part of your story, but how it defines that story is up to you. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. And once you learn to use it, nothing and no one can ever take your power again. Chapter 6. Surround yourself with elevation. No one becomes unstoppable alone. Every great leader, athlete, thinker, or creator you admire was shaped not only by their discipline and determination, but also by the people who surrounded them. Your environment, Both the people and the energy you allow into your life silently molds your mindset, habits, and ambitions. Whether you realize it or not, the company you keep is either pulling you forward or holding you back. Human beings are deeply influenced by proximity. You unconsciously absorb the attitudes, values, and habits of those around you. That means your circle is more than just your social group. It's your mirror. If you spend your days with people who complain, make excuses, and settle for less, it's nearly impossible not to absorb that mindset. But if you surround yourself with people who push limits, dream bigger, and take responsibility, you'll rise simply by association. Becoming unstoppable requires more than individual effort. It requires intentional community. You need people who challenge you, who inspire you, and who refuse to let you play small. Because success, growth, and greatness are contagious, but so are mediocrity, negativity, and fear. The law of association. There's an old saying, "Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future." It's cliché, but it's true. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Not just financially or professionally, but emotionally and mentally. Their habits, conversations, and beliefs slowly shape your identity. If your circle is full of people who take risks, you'll start to take risks. If your circle is full of people who constantly doubt themselves, you'll start doubting too. It's not because you're weak, it's because influence is powerful. The brain craves connection and belonging, so it subconsciously adapts to match the group. The challenge then is to make sure the group you belong to aligns with the person you're trying to become. If you want to be disciplined, spend time with disciplined people. If you want to think big, surround yourself with thinkers and builders. If you want to develop confidence, seek out those who walk with it naturally. Not because they're perfect, but because they've earned it through experience. You can't soar surrounded by those who are content to crawl. Recognizing energy. Every person carries energy, the invisible atmosphere that follows them into every room. You've felt it before. There are people who make you feel lighter just by being near them, and there are others who drain you, leaving you tired and tense. Learning to recognize this energy is essential to protecting your focus. Negative energy disguises itself well. It comes in the form of constant criticism, gossip, pessimism, or self-pity. It might even come from people who love you but are trapped by their own fear. They'll say things like, "Be realistic," or "That's too risky," not to hurt you but to protect you, because your ambition exposes their comfort. You can love people and still limit their influence over your mindset. Setting boundaries doesn't mean you're better than them. It means you value your growth enough to guard it. You cannot heal, evolve, or expand in an environment that constantly pulls you back into old patterns. Protect your energy like it's gold, because it is. The difference between supporters and challengers. Not everyone who supports you will challenge you, and not everyone who challenges you will support you. The best people in your life will do both. They'll cheer for your wins, but also call you out when you're slipping. They won't flatter your comfort zone, they'll threaten it. You don't need a crowd of people around you, just a few who truly care about your growth. Those who hold you accountable, who see your potential when you've lost sight of it, who push you to rise even when it's uncomfortable. True friends won't let you stay average. They'll remind you of who you said you wanted to be. Sometimes the most powerful words you can hear are not "you set" or "doing great," but "you can do better." Environment over willpower. We like to believe that willpower alone is enough to keep us disciplined, but the truth is, environment always wins. You can have the strongest intentions in the world, but if your surroundings constantly tempt you to slip, your progress will stall. If you want to eat better, fill your home with healthy food. If you want to work harder, spend time in spaces that encourage focus. If you want to grow, place yourself around people who are already where you want to be. Discipline thrives in environments that support it. It dies in environments that contradict it. Creating an empowering environment doesn't happen by accident. It's a conscious design. Audit your surroundings regularly. What are you seeing, hearing, and absorbing daily? The shows you watch, the music you listen to, the conversations you entertain, these shape your mindset just as much as the people do. Ask yourself, does my environment reflect my goals or my fears? The courage to outgrow people. One of the hardest parts of personal growth is realizing that not everyone will grow with you. Some relationships will fade, not because of anger or betrayal, but because your values no longer align. The version of you that once fit into certain spaces no longer does. This can be painful, especially when the people you're outgrowing are friends or even family. You might feel guilty for pulling away or for wanting more, but understand this: you're not rejecting them, you're respecting your evolution. Growth requires space, and sometimes that means letting go of relationships that keep you tied to an older version of yourself. It doesn't mean you stop loving them, it just means you love yourself enough to keep moving forward. The people who are meant to be in your life will not be threatened by your growth, they'll be inspired by it. Building an inner circle. As you grow, you'll need to intentionally build an inner circle of elevation. People who challenge you to think bigger, act bolder, and live better. These are mentors, peers, and friends who share your hunger for growth. A good inner circle has balance. You need those ahead of you, those beside you, and those you're helping lift. Those ahead of you provide guidance and perspective. Those beside you offer accountability and shared struggle. Those you're helping remind you of how far you've come and keep you grounded in gratitude. Don't just look for people who make you feel good. Look for people who make you better. Find those who will tell you the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, because truth is what sharpens you. And just as important, be that person for others. Greatness is multiplied through giving. When you elevate others, you reinforce your own growth. The power of collective energy. When like-minded people come together with shared purpose, something extraordinary happens. Energy multiplies. Ideas expand. Motivation becomes momentum. This is the power of community, the invisible force that pushes everyone higher. Think of a team, a mastermind group, or a creative circle. The right group can accelerate your progress far beyond what you could achieve alone. That's because accountability amplifies consistency, and inspiration fuels effort. When you see others striving, learning, and winning, it reminds you that you can too. Surrounding yourself with elevation isn't just about avoiding negativity, it's about immersing yourself in possibility, becoming the energy you seek. Here's the secret that most people miss: you attract what you are, not what you want. If you want to be surrounded by motivated, disciplined, and purpose-driven people, you must embody those qualities yourself. You can't wait for great people to appear in your life while living without intention. You have to become the kind of person others want to grow with. Be reliable, be consistent, be someone whose energy uplifts rather than drains. When you do that, you naturally draw the right people toward you. Energy recognizes energy. The universe mirrors what you project. Elevation as a way of life. Choosing elevation isn't a one-time act. It's a lifestyle. It means constantly checking in with yourself and asking, is this relationship, this habit, this environment helping me rise or holding me down? It means learning to say no without guilt and yes with purpose. As you evolve, your standards will change for relationships, for conversations, for goals. That's a sign of progress, not pride. Growth will cost you comfort and sometimes company, but the reward is clarity and strength. Becoming unstoppable isn't about isolating yourself. It's about surrounding yourself with people who ignite your fire, not those who extinguish it. It's about building an environment that feeds your focus and protects your peace. In the end, you don't have to be the smartest, richest, or most talented person in the room. You just have to be in the right room. The one filled with people who remind you of your potential, not your limitations. Because no matter how strong you are alone, the right environment will always multiply your power. So choose elevation. Choose circles that challenge your limits, not your worth. Choose people who see your greatness and refuse to let you forget it. Because when you surround yourself with elevation, you don't just rise, you stay there. Chapter 7. Becoming Unstoppable. The Rebirth of You. Every journey of growth, discipline, and self-mastery leads to one inevitable realization. You were never meant to stay the same. The person you once were had to die so that the person you were meant to become could live. This isn't just a poetic idea. It's the truth of transformation. To become unstoppable is not to add more to who you are. It's to strip away everything that holds you back until only strength, clarity, and purpose remain. We spend much of life trying to become someone new while clinging to everything familiar. Old fears, old habits, old identities. But you can't step into your next chapter while dragging the weight of your last one. Growth demands release. Reinvention requires rebirth. The version of you who once played small, who cared too much about judgment, who feared failure, that version has served its purpose. It's time to let them go. This is the chapter where everything you've learned, discipline, confidence, mindset, resilience, and environment fuses into a single force, becoming unstoppable. It's not about perfection. It's not about never falling. It's about rising every single time you do. The moment of rebirth. Every rebirth begins with a moment of decision. The point where you finally say, "I'm done living this way." It doesn't always happen during a dramatic event. Sometimes it's quiet. It happens at 2 a.m. when you're staring at the ceiling, knowing something in your life needs to change, or in a morning mirror when you no longer recognize the person looking back. That moment is sacred, because that's when awakening begins. Most people fear starting over. They see endings as losses, but in truth, every ending clears space for something greater. The caterpillar doesn't mourn its cocoon, it surrenders to it. The cocoon feels like confinement, dark, lonely, uncertain, but it's transformation in disguise. Your struggles, your challenges, your setbacks are the cocoon moments of your life. They feel like punishment, but they're preparing you to fly. Rebirth is uncomfortable. You'll outgrow people, habits, and versions of yourself that once felt like home. But that's how you know you're evolving. When comfort starts to feel like confinement, breaking the old identity. To become unstoppable, you must confront the stories you tell yourself, the ones that have quietly dictated your life for years. I'm not smart enough. I'm not confident enough. I always mess things up. These stories become self-fulfilling prophecies, trapping you in a loop of limitation. The truth is, you are not your past. You are not your mistakes, your trauma, or the opinions of others. You are the choices you make today. Every time you act differently than your old story predicts, you rewrite your identity. Start small. When you wake up early, despite wanting to sleep in, you're proving to yourself that you're disciplined. When you speak up despite fear, you're proving that you're brave. When you keep going after failure, you're proving that you're resilient. Each action sends a message to your subconscious. This is who I am now. Transformation isn't an event. It's a pattern of new evidence. The battle of resistance. Whenever you try to change, resistance will appear. It comes in many forms: self-doubt, fatigue, procrastination, fear, even distraction disguised as productivity. Resistance is the mind's way of protecting the status quo. It whispers, maybe tomorrow, maybe later, maybe you're not ready. But here's the truth. Resistance only shows up when you're moving in the right direction. It's the friction of growth. The greater your vision, the stronger the resistance. Instead of seeing it as an enemy, recognize it as a sign that you're evolving. You defeat resistance not by fighting it, but by acting through it. Each time you move forward, despite hesitation, the voice of resistance weakens. Eventually, it becomes background noise, still there, but powerless. The power of relentless action. Being unstoppable doesn't mean you never rest. It means you never quit. It's not about constant motion. It's about consistent intention. Relentless action means showing up even when you're tired, discouraged, or uninspired. It's understanding that progress is rarely dramatic. It's often hidden in the quiet repetition of effort. The greatest transformations are built on small daily actions compounded over time. You won't always see the results right away, but they're happening. Every disciplined choice is a deposit into your future self. Every small win strengthens your identity as someone who doesn't give up. Momentum doesn't come from massive leaps. It comes from showing up again and again. The more you do, the easier it becomes. What once felt like struggle becomes second nature. Because action breeds belief, and belief breeds more action. Faith in the process. There will be days when you feel lost, when the path ahead is unclear, when your effort doesn't seem to be paying off. Those are the moments when most people quit. But the unstoppable understand something crucial. Faith must carry you where proof cannot. Faith isn't blind optimism. It's trusting that every step, even the unseen ones, is leading you somewhere meaningful. It's understanding that growth happens in silence, that the seed grows roots before it ever breaks the surface. You might not see results yet, but that doesn't mean progress isn't happening. Every storm you endure is strengthening you. Every delay is teaching patience. Every rejection is redirecting you. If you can hold faith through uncertainty, life eventually rewards you with clarity. The power of self-respect. Becoming unstoppable isn't about dominating others. It's about mastering yourself. It's about living in alignment with your values and refusing to betray your own standards. The most powerful form of confidence is self-respect, knowing you kept your word when no one else was watching. When you live with self-respect, you stop chasing validation. You don't need applause because you're proud of your effort. You don't need permission because you trust your judgment. That inner peace, that unshakable calm, is what true strength looks like. Self-respect also means setting boundaries, refusing to tolerate what diminishes your energy or self-worth. It means saying no when necessary, walking away when it's right, and standing tall even when it's lonely. Because peace is better than approval, and integrity is better than acceptance. The legacy of becoming. There will come a day when you look back and realize how far you've come. When the things that once terrified you now feel effortless. When the obstacles that once crushed you became the very reasons you grew. That's when you'll understand that being unstoppable isn't about constant motion. It's about continuous evolution. Every chapter of your life has prepared you for this moment. The failures taught humility. The pain taught resilience. The solitude taught self-awareness. The struggle taught strength. You needed it all. Every wound, every delay, every detour, to become who you are now. Becoming unstoppable isn't about being perfect or fearless. It's about becoming so aligned with your purpose that nothing can pull you away from it. Not doubt, not fear, not failure. It's about walking through life with quiet confidence, knowing that no matter what happens, you'll adapt, learn, and rise again. The final shift. From motivation to mission. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the weather. But mission lasts. When you live with a mission, your effort stops depending on how you feel. You no longer wake up asking, "Do I want to do this today?" You wake up saying, "This is who I am." Your mission might be to build, to serve, to create, to inspire. Whatever it is, let it be bigger than comfort. When your purpose is clear, your discipline becomes devotion. You stop chasing motivation because you've built momentum. That's the ultimate level of being unstoppable. When your work becomes your calling, your challenges become your training, and your life becomes your message. The rebirth of you doesn't happen in a single moment. It happens every day you choose growth over comfort, action over fear, purpose over excuses. You are not who you were a year ago, a month ago, or even yesterday. You are becoming, and that is the essence of being unstoppable. Not reaching a destination, but embodying a way of life, a way of showing up every day with heart, hunger, and humility. Because the truth is, the world doesn't need a perfect version of you. It needs the real you. The one who keeps going, keeps growing, and keeps believing. The one who decides again and again to become their own hero. That steps the moment you stop waiting for change. That steps the moment you become the change. That steps the moment you become unstoppable. There comes a moment, quiet, unannounced, often unnoticed by the world, when everything within you shifts. It's not marked by applause or validation. It's not dramatic or loud. It's a simple, sacred realization that you no longer need to be rescued, fixed, or found. You've learned to rescue yourself, to rebuild yourself, to rise by choice, not by chance. That moment, the one when you stop waiting and start becoming, is the moment you become unstoppable. Being unstoppable isn't about perfection or constant success. It's about persistence. It's about standing tall after every storm, refusing to let pain turn into bitterness, and continuing to move forward even when no one believes in you. It's about knowing that the fire inside you burns brighter than any obstacle in front of you. Yuseb learned that discipline is freedom, that confidence is built, not born, that pain is a teacher, not an enemy, that the right people can lift you higher than fear ever could, and that the mind, once mastered, can transform your entire reality. You've realized that every setback was preparation, every heartbreak was instruction, and every challenge was a hidden invitation to evolve. You are not defined by what has happened to you. You are defined by what you do next. So from this moment on, walk with power, not arrogance, power. The kind that comes from peace, the kind that doesn't need to prove anything because it knows. Let your presence speak louder than your words. Let your consistency make the noise that confidence doesn't have to. The world will test you. Life will push back. Doubt will whisper. But remember, you've already faced worse, and you're still here. You've already broken old versions of yourself to make room for better ones. You've already proven that you can survive. Now it's time to thrive. This isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of the chapter where you stop being the seeker and start being the source of strength, of change, of light. You are no longer waiting for the right moment. You are the moment. And this, right here, right now, is where you decide to live, rise, and lead as the unstoppable version of yourself, forever.